social media that tells you need to be wearing Louis Vuitton, you need to be driving a Porsche, you need to have it all, determine it for yourself, then yes, you can have it all. That is the standard I actually wanted to respond about the Prime Minister for New Zealand. Now, if she was a man, they would have asked the man that question, And I think there were many decisions that came about for why she resigned. Yes, she was a mother. She just had a baby when she won, or she was pregnant, or she had just given birth. And her party wasn't going to win, apparently. So politically, she was very unstable. But I thought it was very courageous for this woman to decide that, you know what, I've given my all, because she's going to her second term. I've given my all. I now need to shift my attention to what is near and dear and important. And that, to her, was her partner and her family. And I think now she decided to take this time out, her child, to take this time out to actually now get married. But they were not married because of everything that happened. So she was very brave for what she did. The question that no man would have been asked. And in reality, most men should even be sitting and thinking, the life is pushy for them, because most of them have a woman or wife at home that takes care of a lot of things that they ordinarily would not. And that allows them to be able to go out, be able to travel extensively, to be able to work in late hours without really thinking about, what does it do to me? And I'm not saying men are selfish, don't get me wrong. But at least the wife creates an environment that makes it easier for the husband. It's not to say that husbands are not aware of the fact that their absence does cause a problem in their homestead. But at least a good partner, a good wife is able to handle that aspect of it.
I have a question, and it's related to that. One thing that whenever we have meetings, just to get to listen to the young men who are coming up, they tend to say that women are normally given leadership when it is in a good place. But when they're living it when it is in shambles or going in shambles. So just trying to listen to what you're saying, she was brave enough, that one, I totally agree. Motherhood and being a leader is not easy. Though I don't understand that yet, but now it fits into that narrative. So I'm wondering, is it a matter of perspective, or is it that where do we draw the line, and where do we try to see or try for the men to be supportive and not to bring down the women by using the terms of when she was leaving the party, she knew she was not going to win for the second term?
I think it's really a personal choice, because we've seen many male politicians stay on even though they know their time is over. You understand? So I don't think that even if, I have the impression that even if she felt she may have won, I think this whole thing, this motherhood, marriage was beginning to become something that's very, very important to her. I think also we've got to understand that not every woman is married, and not every woman has children, So everyone really has their own way to deal with the circumstances. I really don't think we should be judging if somebody decides to step away. The mere fact that she was able to govern and govern well for the first term, she was the youngest leader ever at that point, and she did a very good job. So I think we commend her. Let's move on. The others that are doing it now. The gentleman that's taken over from her, his homestead is a real mess. His wife had just left him, and he actually had to appeal to the wife in public to say, please, let's not bring our problems into the public space, because they're going through a very difficult situation. So imagine that was a woman. So everyone has their issues.
To add on what I was going to say to your question is, can you have it all? I'll respond to it in a perspective of my own. For me, I always feel like she said work-life balance.
Yes, you need work-life balance, and there are times you need sacrifice a lot. So I tell people, when you're getting into that career, whichever career you're getting into, you need to look at the challenges that are around that career. You need to look at the men and the women who are in that career, how are they performing, how are they doing. In perspective to this, we all laugh about tailors. We all say all tailors have the same characteristics. They lie, they will tell you this and that. They have the same characteristics. Look at accountants, they all have the same characteristics. Look at you engineers, you all have the same characteristics. Entrepreneurs, you all have the same characteristics. So that tells you every decision you make, there is a character governing that area. So when I was choosing a traveling life, I travel a lot. And I had to sit down with my mom and I looked at the women I desired to be like them, the kind of life they have. And to be honest, there's something I always say, in as much as we are spiritual people, there's reality. Reality on the ground is there, no matter what you do, it's what we are facing. So I had to look at them, I had to study my own life and where I want to be at the end of it, and I realized there are places I will have to sacrifice. So when it comes to life balance, yes. Will I have it all? No. I will have to sacrifice and live with what I work for. So I travel a lot. Will I be able to travel that much when I give back? No. It means I will have to sacrifice that. Will I be able to travel a lot when I'm married? Because you get, I might be in Kenya for 2 weeks, for the next 3 months or 4 months, I'm not there. Are people going to judge me? Will my partner be able to understand that as a woman or as a wife I'm not going to be there? It's a yes or no. So when you get to that point, you decide, am I able to balance it? Am I able to sacrifice this? Am I able to sacrifice that? And most times we always say that it's women who will make the sacrifice. Again, the person you choose as your life partner and even your career determines. You're going to sacrifice for yourself. You're going to sacrifice for your family. What? There's always a sacrifice. So balance your work, your life and everything, but just know there's always a sacrifice at the end of it.
So, first of all, on that question, I would take us back to what the Bible says. All of us read the Proverbs 31 woman, but what does the Proverbs 31 woman entail? In summary, it talks about being the homemaker. And as a woman, that is your main role. But looking at it now, men are there to provide, to protect, and to possess. And looking at the woman, you are a homemaker. But in our current 21st century, women are also providing. So what does it mean? Is this part of homemaking that they have sometimes, most of the time, they delegate to somebody else. But in as much as we are delegating it to somebody else, as a woman, you find yourself, there's a lot, in as much as you have delegated, there's a lot of things that you get to do, and you're still chasing your career. Now, that makes you overcompensate. So you find that you are doing what a homemaker is supposed to do, because one, you're the one who knows whether unga imeisha, ama hakuna rice, ama gas imeisha. You're the one who will be told, not your husband in this case. And you find that in that situation, you have to be a mother, you have to be a wife, and you have to be a homemaker. So what does it mean for a woman? If you choose the path of career, as she has said, there is something that you will sacrifice. Number one, there is your family. These are most of the things that people sacrifice. It's either family, it's either career, or education. Because you find that in as much as you're trying to do a work-life balance, trying to balance the three of them, at the end of the day, it's the family that will suffer. Because you want to be the best at work, you want to be promoted, you
you want to really perform well in your studies for those who desire to pursue further studies, and at the same time, your family is there. So you find most of the times the family will suffer. My turning point is when there is a lady who worked at the ILO, International Labour Organization, and she had been there for over 39 years. And for her, she was always traveling, she was always doing all those things, she was very good with her career, she had gotten to a very high position at ILO, and everything, she had 3 kids, and everything that was happening at home mostly was being handled by the husband. So for her, she was more of children need 1, 2, 3, she gives the money. They need to do 1, 2, 3, she gives the money. So when she retired, she went back home, of course. And by this time, the children had already grown up. Some were even married, some were even had already completed university studies. And the domestic manager now was out of the house and was even living with her own, she had already had her own family. So whenever they used to have maybe events, she would come home, invite her children, but when they come, they have nothing to speak about. And most of the time, she would realize that most of the time they are at her domestic manager's house. So one day she sat with the kids and asked them, why don't you come home? Why don't you with me the way you speak with her? And the children sat her down and told her, Mom, we have nothing to speak about with you. You are always away. We do not have, we cannot share the moments that we had with her. We cannot share about how mischievous we were because we were never mischievous with you. For you, we only knew that if we need anything monetary, we'll provide. But in other these stories, you know how you speak with your mothers. You remember how you used to eat sukari and your knees are here and you still tell your mother, no, I'm not taking sukari. They have no such stories with her mother. So they sat her down and they told her, you don't have any story to talk with you. Like, it's either you're talking about how you have worked, where you've worked, but things to do is me, the children now and the parents, they do not have any story. So as a woman, number one, you need to be aware that in as much as you want to chase your career, in as much as you want to chase education and family, the only balance is you have to sacrifice some. There are ladies who have left work to sacrifice for their family. They have left work and now they are full-time housewives. And it's okay. For the sake of the family, sometimes as a lady, you find yourself sacrificing, and it's okay. So for you, it's to know what to sacrifice. Thank you.
I think it's time that we also question, as Timothy even mentioned, anything about the father. You know, the father needs to play a role. So it is important when you go out and pick your partner that you understand that it is especially in this society, the way things are. You know, if a husband came and threw that verse you threw at me, you know, that the verse you said and threw that at me, I'd be extremely offended because I have a career, he has a career. So what is it that we're doing together? And if we're going to sacrifice, we will sacrifice in different ways. And also I think it's very important that women, yes, we are the ones who give birth, where we rear our children, but I don't think we should be made to feel guilty. Okay? If a woman decides she's not having a child for whatever reason, or they're not married, or if they're in that marriage that she cannot go after her career, it has to be the man. Or what if this woman was the brightest of the two? You understand? Does she lower herself now because the husband is not able to achieve the potential? So I'm just saying, as much as yes, as women, we need to ensure, and we're the ones, we're the caregivers, the caretakers, but it should not be done at the cost of you, the individual. That's just how I see it.
Now, I would like to add on what Engineer Elizabeth has said. It's very true. And I like basing it with my own life. I remember that times every now and then they keep on asking me, this is about just the society. You can never change it. When are you married? And I keep on saying, I'm not yet ready to get married. And they'll always tell you, no, you're working so hard, you will get married, and you'll have to sacrifice everything to stay and take care of your home. And there's one thing I normally say is, a man should decide what kind of a woman he has to marry or he wants to marry. Do you want to marry a career woman, an entrepreneur, or a politician? Because if you marry a career woman, you need to know there are days she will stay out late at work. There are days she will leave very early in the morning. Are you there to support her? Because you are the backbone of that family. Are you ready and willing to support? If you marry a politician, you know during the campaigns there are things she will say, there are ways she will behave, and you have to stand up with her for her. When your family members or the villagers will start talking shit about her, you have to defend her. Are you ready to marry an entrepreneur? They will be like Mary Beth, you will officially become my PA by default, without you even knowing. There are days I will travel, there are days I will not be there. There are days I've lost a tender and I'm crying even for a week. Are you willing to stand up with that? It applies on both ends. Or are you willing to marry a full-time house manager or rather housewife? Also she will not provide. She will be a house manager or rather housewife. There is no profession. So you don't expect her to start doing this and that. And that takes it back to us. Self-awareness. Are you aware of yourself? Are you aware of what kind of a woman you are? Where do you want to be? When you understand that, you will not just fall for any marriage. And you will not just go for any career. Because you understand your value. You understand your purpose. And you know your vision. It becomes easy.
Okay, so first of all, I like what you all said. When I was a teenager and in university, I was around a lot of women, and I grew up with a lot of women. And among all these women, they make different decisions. There are those who got married really early. There are those that chose their careers. Now, when I look at, because I was younger than them, and I was the same things that used to be said about women who are approaching 30 and even 30s, it's actually the same thing until now, and that was years ago. And now I'm at that age, I've finished education, I'm starting to work, I'll be 30 in a few years. And the same things I used to hear back then is what is actually being told to me. And I keep wondering, why do we have to be in a box? That is my biggest question. Why do we have to put women in a box? And who say that to have it all, it has to be career, education, family. In all your life, you only have these things. I feel like life has a lot of things. There are a lot of things in life that can make you happy and full and contented. It's not a specifically these three, but when you're asking the question, let's say, of having it all, people just rush to those specific things, and I feel like you neglect other things that actually make you happy. And another thing you talked about defining your all. And I think that's very important, because what is your all? I've met men, let's say men who approach me at this age, they come with that all. You have someone to give me pressure. Okay, you look like someone who really wants to succeed in their career. But you don't forget, you're still a woman, you still need to have kids. And I'm wondering, why can't you just have a thing as example? First of all, why are you assuming I want to have kids, right? And why are you assuming just because I want to have a career, then I cannot make a family, right? So I think generally, if we can discuss, why do we have to be in a box? Why can't we just live and focus on what makes us contented? Because sometimes you also get really greedy and listen to other people and forget it's very personal. Someone like Hashi likes traveling, someone else doesn't like to travel. You don't get the same satisfaction from traveling. For you, maybe it's volunteering for your work. So some people they just go to work to pay their rent. Some really enjoy it. So I think we don't have to be in a box and everyone should just find their own thing. What do you think about that?
Anytime when you use the word box, the only time I think as a woman would be in the box is to do with your reproduction. So you have to ask yourself, do I want to have children or not? And if I want to have children, and now you're at an age where people can freeze their eggs. So I think you also you should not be, you should not take it for granted that when you're hitting 40s, 50s, that's going to be easy to start having kids at that age. So at the age that you're in, these are the questions you need to start asking yourself. As much as you're saying, I don't want to have a child now, maybe the next 3 years you may want to have a child, or maybe by the time we hit 50, that you would have wanted to have had a child, but your eggs cannot support it. So that's something that unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, as a woman, that's something we bear. A man doesn't bear that burden. So that's where I see the box. Then it comes down to what is it that is good for you, and whatever is good for you may not be good for your mom, your family, or whatever. Again, stop pleasing society. It's easy to say. It's easy to say stop pleasing. You will get a lot of pushback, okay? But in the end, you have to look deep within yourself. And whatever decision that you've made, you have to then learn to live with it. Now, again, coming back, if somehow you didn't do all this stuff, and then you hit 50, and somehow you want the kid and you cannot have a child, there are many other ways that people can do it. Surrogacy, adoption, whatever. You understand? So I mean, I don't think life just ends because at 30 somebody didn't push something out of their body.
Also to answer your question, there's one thing I'd like telling people. You see the box you're also speaking about? It's not the society that has put us in that box. We are the ones who have put ourselves in that box. Because you let the society dictate who you should be, how you should live your life, how you should go about it. For someone like me, and I'll repeat it again, for someone like me as Maribeth, I really wanted to get married at a tender age. I think 21, 22, and 23 there. That is when all of us young ladies in this generation, we want to get married. We feel like it's all rosy and you want to do it. And if you ask me right now, I think I didn't want to get married at that age because I would have made 1,000,001 mistakes. But at this age, I'm much more satisfied. I have clarity of mind, clarity of decisions, and even clarity of my career, where I want to be. And when we start living for the society, we start getting hurt. There are women, I meet them right now, she's at her 50, her 60, she doesn't have kids, she never wanted to, and she still doesn't want to. There are those who are at their 50, they wish they had kids back then, and they don't. So it all depends on who you are and what you want to do. That's why I said it earlier on my speech, I said, on my talk, I said, life is simple. Life is very simple, but not easy, but we let other people complicate it for us. When you wake up in the morning, look at yourself and discover, or rather, ask yourself, what do you want? Just ask yourself, what do you want? Where do you want to see yourself in the next 5 years or in the next 10 years? Where do you want to see yourself? Do you want to see yourself, you've grown in your career, you have your beautiful family, you've learned how to balance it, or you want to see yourself alone and all that? It all depends with you and not the society. So there are things you will say yes to the society, there are things you learn to say no.
This seems to be a very, very hot topic, I can see. We have a number of reactions to this, so I'll give it to one more person so that she can also contribute, make her contributions. And as the mic is getting to her, I would just like to summarize what we've gone through this conversation is. One, determine your all. My all might not be your all. That is something that you need to decide. Because I think in my life I have met someone who is a dog mom. She's very comfortable. Another one who keeps donkeys and she's fine. She calls them my babies. And they're okay. So it's just a matter of you determining what you want in life. It doesn't have to be defined by someone else. So you really need to know, to determine your all, define your all. And then the other one is choose your partner right. That is something that has clearly come out. Choose your partner right because you're going to spend the longest part of your life with this person. And this person will affect most of your decisions. So it's also very important that you choose your partner right. And I'll hand over to her so that she can give her question and comments, and then we proceed to the next question.
Thank you. Thank you, Engineer, and the comment. My input on it, it's a question and at the same time it's a comment in a way. So I'm just, let me just, if you look at our society, for a long time it's been a patriarchal society. And I guess that is why we have all these issues in regards to women. So we have a patriarchal society. These men have been brought up knowing that a man is the head of the family, a man should be doing this and this and that. And this is what a woman should be doing, now going by what I think Grace was trying to bring forward. But now when we move forward in the 21st century, and we are women, and these are women in career, and we are bringing up children, and we have boys. So when we look at now how the boys were brought up back then, and the boys we're bringing up right now, don't you think we should be having a paradigm shift? As women, what are we doing? Because we can keep on saying, then we come to Ogam's point in terms of now we're in a box. We are still revolving around the same issues, but I like solutions. And the solution here is going forward, we either have short-term or long-term solutions. So some of the long-term solutions, don't you think, as women, I pose this to the panelists, don't you think as women we are also not doing our part in terms of raising these boys so that we have that perfect man that we want? Thank you.
There's a question for you, and the question is, do you have something?
Okay, I wouldn't say perfect, but I have a very supportive spouse. I don't have children. I support saying, I think this is the second and third or fourth forum I'm talking and I'm saying I've been married for the last 18 years by choice. I don't have children by choice. And I'm moving forward with my career. So it's up to you. Yeah, thank you. It was brought up well.
Let me also let you know, I am married, but my spouse was not supportive. In terms of, as much as he felt that he enjoyed the perks of my career, but after a while I think it got a bit too much when he was being referred to as Mr. Rogo. You understand? And then, as you said, how the mothers bring up. I cannot blame my mother-in-law. These are from a different time, and then they're not. I didn't marry anyone from Kenya, so no worries, not hurting anyone. You know, in the end, they still look at you as a woman and a wife who should be doing. If I was doing basically what you said from that Bible verse, I think I would still be married. Okay. But I didn't, and the point is that I already said what I was. They knew what I was. I never changed, but it was difficult, and I'm not blaming the person. It's the same thing. Don't have children by choice, but I have a goddaughter and 6 dogs. So those are my 7 kids.
So to add also on that, and also on her question, the issue is right now we've become so vocal about women empowerment, but the men have not been trained to handle the empowered women. So the problem is not actually on us women. The problem is the mindset the men have. Because this is Africa. And in Africa, we were raised to believe women our place is in the kitchen. So right now, they don't understand. And in the current generation, I would say the Generation Z and the millennial, one thing about them is also they have also lost their moral in terms of raising their kids. You see, as compared to Virginia and Madame here, the way they would raise their kids is different from the way you will raise your kids. Why? Because they understand those values more and they uphold to it. And they will be able to raise up the smart and responsible men. But now for we, the coming generation, we want to make it feel like it's equality. So in us becoming empowered, we lose the track in them. And that's why I also advocate for men empowerment so that we don't lose it. And so that also as women don't remain on top because now the boy child is in danger.
That's one. When raising kids, I think again it's your choice. Huh? The man has a place in raising boys. That is why it's a boy. There are things they understand better than you as the mother. So there's a space for the father to make sure that they do their job. But in the absence of the father, there are father figures. For those of you who go to church, there are father figures you can get to just be able to father the children. My daughter went through a ropes class, like she is 13, so they went through a rites of passage class. 2 years they're trained on issues of life issues. So they're separated boys and girls, and they're trained on issues of responsibility. You're turning into a grown man, you're turning into a grown woman, and you're basically cultured. So those who missed out on the schooling from home, they were to gather that. So as a mother of a son, it is up to you to make sure that they get the right schooling. Don't leave it to society, don't leave it to the hope that the right man will train them. Be purposeful. Surround them with the right people, take them to the right places. Because in future, that will be the man who will bring you a daughter-in-law that you will cry about, or he will stay in your house until he's 50, demanding that you give him his share.
I would like you to summarize on this and then I move to the next question.
Thank you very much. I think there is a trend I have observed as I spoke earlier. Especially for us ladies, I would say what she talked about us putting ourselves in a box. I would say we have put ourselves in a box because we are listening to what the society says and putting it in our minds. For example, if you yourself, you know that you want to go for 5 kilometers, let's say a walk or a run, but you find that most of the people are turning back at 2.5. As a human being, you'll tend to go back because others are going back. But if you are determined that even if people don't go after 2.5, that you want to go to that 5 kilometers, trust me, you're going to go there. And most of the things that I have observed is we find ourselves in a competition, and this is measured as per the society. For example, in this generation, this including the Gen Z and the millennial, you find that because someone else has a car, you also want to own a car. But your pockets are different. You don't know why that person wants to own a car, and you yourself, you know that maybe you're not able to own that car at that particular point. So my point is this. don't close yourself to what the society says. As Mary Ben has actually put it right, that at this point where she is, there's a lot of people telling her, why you not married, you know, your biological clock is ticking. But what she has decided to do, she knows what she wants for herself. She knows that at this particular point, this is what I am working on. So don't close yourself according to what the society says, because you'll find yourself competing, and at the end of the day, who will lose? You're the one to lose. So focus on what you want, leave alone the society. The society will be there, it has always been there, so choose your path.
Thank you so much. It has been very, very engaging. There has been so many topics discussed in one. I've seen each aspect of equity in terms of where you are in family terms. We are there together. We are supposed to have some ground rules where we understand each other. That has also been brought up, which is very nice. So this brings me to the next question, and the next question is on imposter syndrome. You find that as women, you're called upon you're given a position, or rather you apply for a position, you get this position, and then you feel like, I am not adequate enough, I cannot do this, they will soon discover me. You're always operating like, you're like, okay, let them not come and find me here. Let them not they'll find out that I am a fraud, I cannot be able to do this. So I'd like to pose this question to the panelists. Have you ever felt as an imposter, like you're doing something and you feel like you don't belong there, you don't have the necessary skills to do this? And how did you overcome the imposter syndrome? I'll give an example of a friend who she's doing very great things. And then she did a presentation, and then after the presentation, she tells me, yeah, I have just done the worst presentation of my life. I have done so badly. I don't think those guys even think that I did the right thing. Then I asked her, I was there, and then I was like, but you did a very great job. What's up? Because she texted me later on in the evening, and then I was like, you did a very good job. What makes you think that you did not do a good job? And then I realized that is something that we all suffer as women. We feel like, no, please don't pick me. They will find out that I don't know what I'm doing. How have you dealt with imposter syndrome? Have you encountered imposter syndrome? And how have you dealt with it?
No, I'll tell you, no, I haven't.
No,
I haven't. Yeah, I haven't. I don't think all women go through imposter syndrome. I think it's really, and it comes back to what I think everyone has been saying, Mary Ben as well. It's just you're constantly questioning and looking within yourself as you're moving along. As I said, because I worked with men at a very early age, I I watched how they interact. If anyone has imposter syndrome, then we all have it. So it's not just a female thing. But I watched how they act. They were men are very supportive, and they will tell you, come, come, come. Don't worry, I'll get you there, and we'll be there to support. Woman will come, 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 and then you're left there by yourself. Okay? In most times, that's what you are here for. Women tend to work with women. But I think really just comes down to personality, the sort of person sort of person you are, and where it is that you want to go. I'm not trying to say that I know everything. And have I ever been scared to
say men have a higher cortisol level, I think 8% more than women. So they always think of themselves as more highly than they are. That is why they apply for jobs when they are 60% qualified. But for women, you want to be 99.999% qualified before you apply. Why? Because of the imposter syndrome, and then the cortisol levels of making you happy and feeling like you are important are much lower. So it doesn't come automatically because of how you're wired genetically. But that doesn't hold strong on it. It is what we tell ourselves, like you correctly say. What do you entertain the inner critic? Do you allow yourself to talk yourself down and tell yourself, I can't do this, I can't do that? You need to be consciously aware of that. As long as you're aware that you have imposter syndrome, you can overcome it. Overcome the negative self-talk. Look at your strong points. In fact, you need to list them down. If the imposter syndrome is so bad, list them down. I'm qualified. This is what I do. I'm very good at this. I'm very good at that. Put your skills up. You can keep a journal for your qualifications. Just give yourself accolades. That's part of building yourself up and ensuring that you are able to overcome the imposter syndrome. So yes, I've also experienced that, and it still comes and goes. And I feel normal because Michelle was talking about this recently after she's already been a first lady and come out. So it's a situation that you keep coming and going, but it's because of how we have been schooled and how we have always talked to ourselves. So you have to consciously keep working at it and working at it.
Just to make a clarification, I've also had imposter syndrome, and how I came out of it is telling myself that you are your greatest enemy. As she has said, mine is normally what's the worst thing that can happen? Will anyone die? Then why are you afraid? Because I've been doing presentations for my studies, and sometimes I'm like, hey, this panel, they're going to really put me down. They're going to really have so many questions that some I will not have answers. But before that presentation, I always call myself to a meeting and ask myself, you're going to do that presentation. You're the one who has done that research. You have come this far. What's the worst thing that can happen? They'll ask you questions, yes, but those questions have will anybody die after them asking questions? Some of these questions are to help you, so why are you afraid? It's a matter of taking yourself to a meeting and really having that self-talk. And this self-talk, sometimes it can even be you in front of a mirror. I normally like taking videos on my phone, and I talk to myself. I tell myself, you need to grow. You need to grow mentally. You need to grow physically. You need to grow spiritually. And this is what you're supposed to do. And you talk to yourself, and you're able to overcome. The greatest enemy is you.
That's very, very encouraging. And I'd like to summarize that. Some of the things that has come up is one, you are your greatest enemy. Only you can put yourself down. No one else can come in and put you down if you have not given them the permission to do that. Unless you allow them, they'll do that. But you have to be strong by yourself. And then one of the ways of overcoming it that I've seen is get a mentor. It's important that you're able to get a mentor, and a mentor is able to guide you through it. Someone you can always set up sessions and discuss ways of improving even your presentation. Because when you're speaking to your mentor, you need to have the goals that you're going to discuss with this mentor. What do we want to achieve in this session? How are we going to do it? And then you will be able to achieve it. And then lastly, and what I'd like is start falling in love with yourself. You fall in love with every other thing and then forget falling in love with yourself. So start falling in love with ourselves. I don't know if there's a question from the crowd before I pose the last question. There are some reactions, so I give her. There's a hand over there.
I have this opinion, so I'll give it to the panelists to tell me if actually. I think as women, you feel that we conquer war.
I wanted to say, if it was possible, we make them short because of time.
Yes.
We have also another presentation after this.
Some regions, they got into war, like for just think, but trust me, what your boy counterpart would have done and you're way much better. You don't get before. You're the biggest thing in there. So trust me, you're real. I don't know. Does that inspire play? They say
Hi everyone, my name is Christina. For me, it's just to add on how I my name is Christina. I just wanted to add on how I fight imposter syndrome. I do that by reminding myself that no one is an expert. So if I'm feeling like a fraud, it's either because I don't know something or there's someone who has more experience than me. So I ask for help. Another way is identifying knowledge gaps. For example, when you are doing something and you can't do it, you feel like you are a fraud, not because you can't do it, but because you don't know how to do it. So if you realize that you can't do it and learn it, then next time you'll be able to do it and you feel much better. Thank you.
So thank you very much for your question and reactions from the panel. So because of time, I'm going to cut it short. We are going to have the last question on finance, and I would like the panelists to give us just a brief on how to handle finances and what you can do as a woman to build your finances or to make, like some people be homemakers, to achieve your dreams, travel, and how you can handle that. So I'll hand it over to the panel. We can start from Zippy and then we.
All right, I'm not a finance person. But again, just like everything in life, you need to be purposeful. I think the best teacher is the Bible. You're told to save, to put 10% to charity, whether it is in time, whether it is in time, whether it's whichever. The first fruits of your harvest, you give it away. You give it away in whatever way. It's number one. It's a way of investing in society, and it also gives you a responsibility. What you do with the rest, 90%, you need to decide. The financials will tell you, they tell you the formulas, or not tell you the formulas of what you need to do, but you need to ensure that whatever you do, you're keeping away, aside something for yourself, something to invest in yourself. As women, we tend to spend all our money to the last point in the house, the children, with the husband, with the husband. You're left with only money enough for your hair, maybe a bit of makeup, and that's it. But you need to purposely invest in yourself, whether you're going to go into money markets, whether you're going to buy a Ogoda, whether you're going to something. Be purposeful. These chamas, they also are available. You're able to raise money together, and then you're able to do projects. So you need to be purposeful about what you do. I personally have my own, I think I started, I invest in money markets, property, different other areas. I'm not telling you how many thousands of millions or tens I've invested, but I've been purposeful. And where I stand, I'm proud of what I've done with my finances. So you need to look at yourself and tell yourself, the next 5 years, will I be proud on how I'm spending my money? Just itemize it every month. You know that every shilling counts to that 5-year plan that you have.
There's something, allow me to say it in Luo, and then I'll translate it. There's something I keep on saying with my mom every now and then. Nyakober di pesa de. Meaning, a woman is good, or a woman has her own money. Whether you're a housewife, whether you're a career woman, trust you need to have your own money. If you're a housewife, there are chamas you can get into. You can always deduct 10 shillings, 100 from that money for food and everything. Save it for yourself. It is so nice when you can afford your own pads, your own panties, you can buy things for yourself without asking your husband money. He sees the value in you. When your mom calls you for money or your siblings, you are able to give them your own money. There's value in that. And there's something we always say, not every man will tell, not every man will tell every woman, pack your stuff and leave. I know you get the difference. There are those women who will be told, pack your stuff and leave. Their things will be thrown out. And there are those women who will not be told that. Why? Because value. Your money also adds value to you. If you're a career woman, save for yourself. Trust you me. Life is better when you have your own savings as a woman. You're able to do a lot of things. I was financially stable for 6 years, and I saw not only with them, but even with our family, money comes with its own respect. We always say that money does not bring happiness. Trust you me. I fear poverty. Trust you me. I fear. In fact, when I sleep and I remember poverty, I wake up fasting. In fact, I don't even sleep. Because poverty comes with disrespect, dishonor, shame, embarrassment, and it's a parasite. But when you have money, it brings happiness in terms of you as an engineer. You can identify a community in Samburu that needs that geothermal or water and everything. You can offer financial services for them to drill a borehole. Would they be happy? They will be happy. You can stand up for FGM and support it yourself with your own money. Will those women be happy? They will be happy. The issue is money is not the root of all evil. The issue is how you react when money comes into your life. Money controls you instead of you controlling the money. So find ways you can achieve, or rather you can save for yourself, you can do businesses. As women, we are blessed. We have the sixth sense. Women can transform any simple thing from million. Someone who can decide to start supplying the entire estate or the entire apartment with tomatoes. And it doesn't require degree to do that. It requires common sense, which we have naturally. You can decide to start supplying something. Women, we are good when we have our own money. Let nobody teach you. That one will sit down. Look for your own money and save. Do anything that you need to do. Thank you.
I think my two panelists have said what I wanted to say. However, I'd like to advise the young ladies, those of you who are coming up in your careers, invest, buy property. You get married, everything is separate. You understand? There's no bringing anything into that marriage. Whatever you earn is separate. Okay? I am not a believer in bank accounts merging. That's just me. I'm not a believer. I'm a believer in separate. But if you must have bank accounts, have that one bank account that you all feed into it. But you must you must be financially healthy. You cannot turn around and say the husband was the bad person. But what did you yourself do? It is important you are financially stable as much as you can. You understand? Because the minute you're not, and I think you heard from Mary Ben's story at one point in her life, when she wasn't financially stable, that's when you see the real personality of that person that you're with. You understand? Yes, but just for your own self-worth, invest, even if it's a little at a time, invest in yourself first. That's very, very important. Thank you.
So in terms of finances, my co-panelists have really explained a lot in terms of finances. But one thing that really motivates me is you need to plan for what you have. And in as much as you're planning, remember that you need to save, you need to tithe, you need to pay your bills, and all those things are dependent on that source of income that you're getting. what really puts many people down is living outside their means. You really want to, I would call it, we are in this microwave generation whereby we want things instant, but we don't want to go through the process. As young as you are right now, you can start investing. It's not too early. If you think that in your retirement you want to have maybe some plot somewhere, you want to be a landlord, a landlady, you want to have this and this, you start now. And if you start now, hapo mbele, it will not be hard for you. If you inculcate a culture of saving, it will not be difficult for you. So, in terms of finances, number one is you need to plan for your money, you need to invest, and live within your means. It's okay if you can't afford to go with a couple of friends to Maldives. It's okay. A time will come when you'll be able to afford that. So live within your means and everything will be easy for you. Yes.
That was our last question to our panelists. I don't have much to add on that. And what I'd like to do is to thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for spending your time to be in this panel. Thank you for the discussion. We have Grace. Grace is from Davis and Shanklin. She was not with us in the morning session as a speaker, but she was able to come up here. Thank you so much, Grace. Thank you so much, Engineer. Thank you so much, Meribeth. Thank you so much, Zippy. Zippy is also from Davis and Shanklin. And she's actually our host here, where we are. This is her space. Maybe towards the end, she'll mention a few, something small on that as we close. And I really didn't want to take questions right now because of time, but I've seen a number of hands. So I would need us to, very, very short questions. I'll add us about 5 minutes, only 5 minutes. So brief questions, I'll take all the questions and then we give the answers. So all the questions at once and then the answers. So I'll start from this end and then we proceed together.
I'll give 2 brief questions. The first one is, what are the life challenges that have been thrown on you that was a turning point, that made you who you are, that made you connect to your emotions, that made you connect to your humanity, both personal and career. The second one is dealing with unconscious biasness based on personality traits, culture, or upbringing, like Lucy said.
Okay, so those are 2 questions. Turning point on your career, I think you can note that down. Turning point in your life, and then dealing with unconscious bias. So we'll answer all the questions at the end after we go to all the questions. Where's the other?
So my question is, you talked about living within your means. So what happened, like when Medina said she was staying in Kawangware and the environment there was like people were thinking in a kind of another mindset. The mindset of Kawangware, like what happens in such a scenario? You want to project yourself to a good lifestyle, which is like above that, and your means is like below what you want. Like, yeah, what happens with that? And also to us who are still in school, what like for the small money we can get maybe from volunteering and maybe from the pocket money we get, what are the investment options you would like prescribe to people like us? Okay.
Hello? Hi. Mine is just a comment. Sorry.
Mine is just a comment. I think conversations around finances should be for some of us, we now realize the importance of saving towards the end of our life. And you're thinking of how much money you spent or wasted. So I think even as value forums for young professionals or people in university, this also needs to go even lower to high school, even primary school, just to understand what it means to save. We would think of saving, okay, we go buy that lollipop or that. Well, but I think that mindset needs to be established when we're also very young and very, yeah, so that's just my comment on that. Thank you.
So my question was to Beshben, but also the panel can answer. So it's about mentorship. You talked about value proposition. So the question is, from my understanding, you have to offer something that you can get mentorship from. So I'd like to understand how that looks for you, and does it seem like you're taking too much and not giving anything back? And how, I think you've already explained that, but how do you go about seeking a mentor?
My question might really not, some people might not really relate to my question, but being a woman in STEM, some of us will come from backgrounds where, yes, leaving campus and getting into your career life, you're like, yes, I have these financial plans, I'm going to do this. And then there comes the black sharks looking for you. So I don't know who has had to deal with this in your early career. Sometimes maybe you are the only successful person, or the others behind you are coming out on the passport, or you're the, and then you are just getting into your career life, and my friend, the tax is here for you. So how do you go about that in your financial planning?
Hello. I'm Cynthia. I have two questions. One, how do you deal with parents who you have a sibling that has gone through personal trauma? How do you deal with approaching your parents about it so that they cannot like judge her or him on it and try and remove that trauma from him? So do you do that as a sibling? Also, I have another question. How do you advise the incoming engineers? How do you advise them when they enter in a certain industry and they see growth in it, but the company they are working for, there is no growth? How do you advise them? Hello. My question is on finance. So we talked about the investing in financial planning. I wanted you to advise me on the banking solutions, which are the best, maybe debit card and cash, or healthcare plan, or which healthcare plan to use, and tax saving strategies.
My question is about early career. So basically after graduation, you get like small purchases for your first job as a manager. Then they pose the question of what type of salary would you like to start with? And basically in the industry, what do you exactly what you say for that particular point?
Unfortunately, I'll have to lock some people out of the question session because we have a final session with Dr. Ross Bogi, who has joined us, and some of those questions which will not be answered by the panel, she'll take up some of the questions. So with the questions that we have, I'll ask the panelists. Not all of them will be able to react to every question, but then maybe two of you in each of the questions, so that we can be able to move forward. So the first question is, what was the turning point in your life or in your career that you can advise on? And then the same person can also talk on dealing with unconscious bias. So you can talk about turning points and dealing with unconscious bias. I'll give it to you.
I may have alluded to it when I spoke. I remember when I was working in Texas, and this is more technical. I was running a project in a oil well, and this was a complicated chemical run that we were using. It had never been done in my industry, in my district. I had just come off a very long job, and I was going home, back home to Houston to sleep, when I got a call that I was needed in Louisiana. So it's in Texas, Louisiana, and I had to drive all the way for a job that I did not understand how it was being run. So I called my boss, who was the district manager, and asked him, do you know how to do the procedure? I then found out it was him who was supposed to have done the job, but he put it on me. Sure enough, we messed up the job. And of course, the first thing the client said, because it was a very big job, looked and said, you see, that's why I needed a real engineer. Who is she? What country does she come from? Canada? Is Canada in America? Because he had come out of Canada. And I felt that the ground should open and swallow me. And of course, I was very upset. Management was very upset because we were talking about millions in chemicals that were being used. And I vowed I would never, ever, ever, ever be put in such a position again. After getting all the heat, I went home, read. When I came back to do the job, they made sure I went back again to that same man or same client to do the job. Do you know that I was the best? That client used to call me every time. African lady, can she come and do this job for us? You understand? So what did it teach me? It taught me you need to know your stuff. Make sure you're not caught out. And unfortunately, I was a bit naive. Okay, I should have been much more strong about it. But even if you don't and you make a mistake, get up, do what you needed to do. Now, in terms of biases, obviously, I was a black female working with Texans, and not all of them are very nice to black people. But what happened? Because I knew my work, I was known for being, my expertise was very high in what I was doing. These men stopped seeing me as a black woman. They saw me as an engineer who could get the job done. And that has been a big lesson for me, and that's the lesson that I've carried on with. And just very quickly, I hope that's answered your question. Very quickly to the nice, pretty lady with the red head. In terms of early career, we're just having a discussion. In times like now, it's extremely difficult. Sometimes you get into a place because jobs are not there. So you want to get into a place where you are able to at least get some training. At this time, you may not be talking about salary the way you want. But what is important in this time frame that you have, are you with a company that's providing you with this training? Are you getting something? Because even for the company to train, it takes time. You understand? And you don't want to be shelving papers. But if you do, even if you're doing paperwork, as somebody told me, was a lady from HR, the lovely pretty lady. For 6 months, she was busy filing. But as she was filing her documents for 6 months, she was reading the documents. She's in HR. And she began to learn about cases, about people, about whatever. So she was using that time. She didn't sit there and say, oh, I'm filing, and that's it. She learned about what it is to be an HR clerk, and then as her career evolved, she remembered that 6 months that she spent doing whatever. My advice to you, and I say that even to the young engineers I take on, is that this is the time to get the experience. Okay? Yes, you will get some pocket money, some stipend. Please do not be, don't be fascinated, I must be earning so-and-so because somebody told me they're earning so-and-so. There will be a time you will overtake that so-and-so by miles. It's the skill set. When you leave a company, you leave with knowledge. That money that you earned has dissipated in whatever. You understand? So the early career, get with the right company. More importantly, get with the right person. If you know people in the company, get yourself with the right person and somebody who will be able to give you that knowledge and will encourage you to grow. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You've really touched on the important points of that question. And I would like to move to the next question, and I'll merge these two questions. There was a question about the environment where you grow up, and you want to move from that place. Like probably you've grown up in a place or in a society where people are not doing great things, but you want to change that story. How can you do that? And I would like to merge the same question with dealing with black tax, because if you're from that kind of environment and you have made it, you will not be able to move out of it because there are people who are looking up to you, who need that little money that you're getting when you're in internship. There's a sibling somewhere who still needs you to support them. Your parents need you to support them. How can someone, how would you advise this person? I'll throw it to the panel. Maybe one of you to take these two questions. Okay. Grace would like to take the question.
When I had this question, I just smiled because I'm a victim of black tax. And I think most of us are. One would ask, what is black tax? Yes. Black tax is when you get employed, you have to still support people at home. You still have to pay school fees for your siblings. And sometimes it extends to cousins. Sometimes it extends to your extended family. Sometimes it's not only your siblings. Then the other one was
the environment in which you're brought up. You're
yes.
from maybe a poor environment or from a difficult environment. How would you rise from that environment? How would you do it? Someone who has done it, how would you?
Yes. So for me, I think that really applies to me because I come from a humble background. Just to give a bit of my life. I lost my dad when I was 4 years old, and to a road accident. And to this day, I can't tell you my dad used to do this, my dad did that, because I have no memory. And mostly I rely on what my family tells me. Your dad used to do this, your dad used to do that. And that's what I rely on. Then I got a stepdad later on, who was very violent, who was a drunkard. I remember there was a 31st when people were busy screaming Happy New Year. I was in a kiosk somewhere in the cold, and since we are all ladies here, I was in my menses and I didn't have any pad to change, and I was just there. And because we had been chased away, so there was nothing I could do. And where we used to live, it's an environment whereby the norm was you finish Form 4, by the time you completing your exam, you already have someone, you get married. By the time your results are out, you're pregnant. That was the trend in our village. And the other thing is men, by the time you are 14, at least and that was it. And for me, it was a really big challenge because I was not the kind of person who was told, you need to read. There was only one statement that my mother used to tell us. She used to tell us, me, I will not tell you read, but when you utaenda Kajinga High. So it's up to you. Kama unataka kwenda Kajinga High, it's up to you. So for us, it was more of self-motivated to learn, to get our mother out of this, to get ourselves out of this. And one of the things that I cling on to is working with people that are where you want to be. I would go to, I think Nairobi University was the nearest place that I would go to. I would go to Nairobi University, I would sit in a lecture, and I would listen, and I was personally learning. Because I knew I wanted to come here. I would relate with people who have been to university, because I know I want to go to university. And I was still in high school. I knew that I needed to do this and this career. I had like 5 of them. If By then we had judge. If judge does this, this is where I land. If this happens, this is where I land. And trust you me, when I got to Form 3, it had gotten worse in our family. That the best thing for me to do is quit school for good. Because nilikuwa nimehepa shule, I had, in high school, watu wakifukuzwa for school fees, I used to stay around. So there was one day that the principal came with the list and she called me in class on a Sunday. And watu walikuwa wameenda nyumbani on Friday. So I was chased away. So I knew I'm not going back to school. I don't even have transport to school, leave alone school fees. So I knew my school fees, my school is done. So the best I will do is start a job and support the others. But once somebody told me that you are almost there, so the best thing you can do, you can, they advised me and even gave me transport. I went to my grandmother's and that's how I continued with my studies. And in that community, most of the people, that's the trend they were taking. I have those that you cleared with and that's the trend. So automatically, it was expected of me that that's what would happen to me. But I cling to people who have made it. I had people that I would go to, now Lisa, university, how is it like? This and this course, if I want to do this course, what should I do? If I want to do this course, what should I do? And that's where I got to be told that if you want to do any engineering course, JKUAT is the best. If you want to do medicine, this is what you're supposed to do. So, and after it all, I was the first person in our village to go to university. I was the first person in my paternal extended family to go to university. I am the first engineer in our area. I am the first person, like after I went to university, that's when people were like, oh, there's university. So they now started coming to me, how can my son go to university? How can my daughter go to university? So I created a circle of people and now we are about 15 of us in our family now in university. And the ladies now, they don't even go for para. It's regular. They're not motivated. They're like, me, I want to go to university. And right now, we are now 15 of us in university. Some have even cleared and are even working, and some just did the other day. Then the other question on black tax. There was a lecturer in, because of all of that, I had to educate myself in campus. I had to pay my own school fees in campus, know where I'm going to stay, and everything. So yes, help was there, and when help comes, yes, you'll pay school fees, everything that comes from help, and then how are you going to survive? So for me, I had to educate myself through campus. I had to work. What in another relationships, they didn't have time. It's either I'm in class or I'm somewhere trying to assist one of my lecturers with their project, or I'm doing work study, or I used to have a business whereby I photocopy for my fellow students. And then I'm here that they were photocopy, I photocopy for them. At least now I know that I'll be able to eat lunch and a bit of supper. Breakfast was not, and it was not a must. So for lunch and dinner, at least I knew that if you use a copies kata to eat, at least, and you know with JKUAT, you only needed 10 shillings. That is ugali, vegetables, and something we used to call CDF. CDF was ile supu ya nyama. So that is what we used to call CDF because it was free. So that's how I began. So, meaning that my siblings will also pass through the same thing. So for me, after clearing campus, I did not choose what to do. I actually started selling domains. Nonai.com and .org, and the hosting, silver hosting a website. That's what I started with. And I used to be paid some money, and I had to divide it between myself, and I divided between my family and my siblings who are still in school. So it continued. After that, I left there. I went to assisting lecturers with marking scripts, magic ones. I might have marked your script. Invigilating exams, invigilating cards, assisting with data collection, assisting with analysis of data and all that. Then COVID happened. So what am I supposed to do? So I started selling kitchenware. So, and part-timing as an errand person. So if you have a wedding, you don't have time to go look for things at Durwa or Kirinyaga Road. I will do that for you. You don't have time to go looking for suits, who has the best. I would go to Isili. I knew where to get the suits. I would do all that. I would assist. Maybe you're looking for a shoe. I would do that. And at this time, I'm still giving money home. So now when I got to Davis, my sister was just completing class 8, my youngest sister. And it was up to me because nobody else would do it. So what I did, I took her through Form 1 registration. I paid for everything. I had to sacrifice a bit of things because my grandma taught me that bora ingize kichwa. You know that first day is the toughest because the amount of money that you require is really huge. So right now she's in Form 3, and during COVID time, every month your every salary is into school fees. So I took the burden for my family and I took them through that. Then in the process, my other sister got some job. My mom was a bit settled because now I had to pay her rent because they separated with my stepdad. So I had to take it up to some point when now everyone was settled. So after that, I called for a meeting. Now it got to a time whereby I'm being dependent on everything, like when I take in everything, and someone is earning something somewhere and they don't want to contribute. So I called for a meeting and I told them I have done my part, and when in the future I need some assistance. Because now you are stable, let's sit down, let's see what you can contribute towards school fees, let's see what the other person can contribute towards that school fees, and all will be well. And my principle has been tough love. It's tough love, yes. It's tough love in this sense. It's not that every time they feel like eating meat, you are there to give them. You also need that. You have a life that you have to go through. Don't forget about yourself. Have the things that you need also to do. So in this tough love, it's about, do they have the basics? Do they have shelter? Do they have food? And that is it. If they want any luxury, they need to work hard and get the luxury. And it's not about now that I know my mom wants a dress for this and this time. Mother sometimes can maybe. It's what you can give and what sometimes you hold it because you also want them to give because they're in a position whereby they can also contribute. So see unajinyima everything for them and then you lose. They'll get to a point whereby I remember one of my lecturers telling me a point will come, you'll sacrifice everything, and for her she had sacrificed even getting married, and now her siblings are all grown up and they were questioning her, why isn't she married? And they forget. The other one was telling me that the sister was asking her, she was in parallel, and she was the one who was paying. She was asking her, "Mbona unashindangwa kununua gari mtumba?" You know? So don't forget yourself. Do what you can and balance between yourself and them. Do not stop helping them. Please do. Even you at some point will ulisaidiwa. Please help them, but apply tough love. It has worked for me. At the end of every term, we sit down, we say this is the school fees, this is what this person will contribute, and this one, and we make it happen. So black tax is okay, but tough love has worked for me. Look for the best thing that can work for you.
Thank you so much, Grace. I think your story is very inspiring to many people, and we'll have to give you a session another day. We'll suppose to do that, even if it's online or something, we'll have to listen to that. So we have 3 questions on finance, but we are not going to give that answer to the question, but to answer that question right now. We have one final speaker, who was our guest speaker, Dr. Rose Ngugi. She'll come up to speak, and then she might touch on those 3 questions. Thank you so much once again. Okay. So in our final session, just bear with us. I beg your indulgence. It's going to be very, I know we can give her 10 minutes. I'm actually looking at her. And she's going to be talking about how to position oneself for bold opportunities and just to give you a brief history, sorry, you're not able to hear me, but I hope you can. She is the Executive Director and Board Secretary of KIPRA. KIPRA is the Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis. She is involved in providing technical guidance and capacity building on policy and strategy formulation to the government of Kenya and other stakeholders with the overall aim of contributing to the achievement of national development goals. She was a senior advisor in the Office of Executive Director, Africa Group 1, the International Monetary Fund in Washington, D.C. Dr. Ngugi has been a member of the Central Bank of Kenya Monetary Policy Committee and has vast teaching experience at the University of Nairobi School of Economics. My dear elegant ladies, please help me welcome Dr. Rose Ngugi. Let's keep clapping and good evening. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here today. I thought this event was happening in the evening. Until I was told the event is actually happening from morning. Just sitting in my house. But then I realized that I was confusing this event with another event. So I decided that I have to come in the afternoon. Now, there are many things that I've had being spoken, and one of them was the session just immediately after lunch. And it was about, I don't know whether you finished your tests or you got your results on time, and all those things about campus, yeah? And I just want to find out how many of us are students right now. Several of us. How many have just finished? Quite a number of us. So that helps me actually to balance what I need to talk today. And I'll talk about it from, first of all, my career. I know what the moderator has indicated as my topic. And I want to say that
as I tackle it, I want to give it from various perspectives so that I can give you opportunities which are there, not just in the board, but as young people. My assumption is that I'm talking to youth. I heard her say that she's yet to get to 30 years. How many of us are 35 and below? Many. So I'm talking to the youth, yeah? Thank you very much, yeah. So I want to start by speaking about my career because I think sometimes we see people, including those who are seated here, and you say, tomorrow I want to buy a Mercedes. It's like, and you ask yourself, did she just wake up, finish school, and buy a Mercedes? If they didn't have a parent to give them a Mercedes, if they have had it, probably whatever they have gone through in life is actually a lesson that one may want to look at. And for 15 years, I've taught at the University of Nairobi. I'm not an engineer. I've heard that all of you are engineers. I'm not. I'm a social scientist, which means that as an economist, maybe I fit there as a scientist, but from the social point of view, I'm an economist by training. And there are many things that I've seen when I'm training, but also when I'm a teacher. I've heard one of the speakers saying that she was helping marking for the lecturers. And I wondered what role was the lecturer taking as a responsibility that this is actually the mark I gave you, and I bear responsibility as myself, not as the person who helped. So I remember when I finished my master's at the University of Nairobi, I had a lot of dreams. I had dreams of continuing with research work. I had dreams of getting back to university and actually teaching. And I went to my lecturers and I asked them, where do I begin with my research work? I also got to know of a network which was helping young economists to grow in their career for research. And I went back and I told them that I have a proposal that I want to put in because they are giving small grants so that I can get some little money to do my research work. And the first thing I was told by the first person is that, no, they are doing this area, you're not, it's a very hard area, you cannot manage it at all. I went to the second one and I said, I have this concept and I know about this network. Can I get my proposal through? And he told me the same thing and he said, you see, you just finished school, there are many professors who are there, I'm not a professor that time, so you may not go through. I sat back and asked myself, do I believe in what I want to do? And I told myself, yes. So I put in the proposal. In whatever form it was. Luckily, whoever received the proposal, because they had the office in Nairobi, the executive director called me and said, come, we discuss your proposal. When I went, I remember I was getting to my 26 years, and just finishing school, not very much you've done. And I was like, what is it that they are going to tell me about the proposal I've given? And he held my hand and took me to the director of research. And the director of research told me, you only need to do this in this section, you push this in this direction, and you're good to go. And that's how I started my research work. Being brave, but also having somebody to believe in you. And that's what I did. I did a lot of consultancy work, being called upon to support as an RA. Do you know who is an RA? A research assistant, yeah? So you get into various projects. But there's one that I was working with, I would say an elder. He was a professor, I was not. So he was almost twice my age at that point. So we went around collecting data, and we came back to the office to analyze the data. But for some reason, he was not moving. Things were not moving. And the person who was supervising us, who was his friend, I found it a little bit difficult to tell him that things are not moving because my professor is not moving as fast. So one day he called me in the office and he asked me, do you know you can take leadership without showing it, without letting the other person, but you can take it. And he told me, that's what I want you to do. I want you to take up the project and move on with the analysis without replacing your team leader. And it was a bit difficult because I knew these two are very good friends and I didn't know what they would talk about. But I went in and I took over. He only realized we have finished when he had finished. Right? And that's the time he realized that actually I had something to make an input into the research work. Taking leadership without necessarily being seen to undermine the leader, but take it up and move. That's the only way you can demonstrate your capability. I also got, I'll give you only 3 scenarios. I also got into another consultancy work. Very young, not knowing even what consultants do in town, all of them with their firms. And I was introduced to these consultants. And I was told, this is what I want you to do. But later on, the person who introduced me to this consultant firm asked me, by the way, how is it going? I said, it's going on well. Have you been paid the first installment? I said, yes. Then he disclosed to me and told me, the reason why I didn't take that work is because that consultant's firm does not pay. Hello? So I told him, no, I've been paid. Actually, I did my first draft. I took to them. The following day, I was given a check. I did my second draft, took to the firm, responded to all the comments, and was given my second check. And the final version, and I got my 3rd check. I came back to him and I told him, I've not struggled with the consultant at all. I've gotten everything. And what I learned is that in everything you do, you must put your best foot forward. That consultant, we met later, and we worked very well, but we reminded each other. And because I told him the story, I told him, you remember that time I came and I was very young and we did some work? I had been told you don't pay for the consultants, you don't pay for the work. He told me, no, I don't pay for those who don't work. I don't pay for those who give me not quality work. For those who did, and that is what you did. You are very young, but you did it. You gave me what I was I was looking for. So you get paid whatever it is. Finally, this is the last one I'm giving as an example of career and how you grow. So I got into another project, and surprisingly, we tend to sometimes work as you have a hard life behavior. So you have your friends, and has had something on this project, comes back and tells you, pushes a negative energy to you, and then you're like, okay, so they are misusing me in this project. So you go back and you tell the professor, you know what? I think it's not a good deal you're giving me. I've had 1, 2, 3, 4. So me, I'm not getting into this. The professor called me with another lady that we were in the project and told us, I hear you have dropped out of the project. And we said, yes. Why did you drop out? And we told you, your colleague told us, this is how you are treating everybody else, but you're not treating us. We said, no. And then he told us, you know, in life, I am a professor today, but tomorrow you'll also be a professor. And I want to ensure we don't burn any bridges. Today, I'm giving you the project. Who will give me the project tomorrow? You are going to give me the project, isn't it? So today, I give you a project. Tomorrow, you invite me for your project. And there was no, and he said, I don't want any bad blood among us. I want to ensure that we don't burn bridges, because we all grow through various bridges. So this is what has taught me that in career development, you need support from each other, but you also need to demonstrate yourselves what you are capable of. Now, as leaders, because when you go to, whether you're taking a position as a board member, you're taking a position as a CEO, or taking a position as whatever, it is important that you also understand the opportunities that are there that will help you to grow. I come from government. KIPRA is a government institution. KIPRA stands for Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis. I've been the executive director for the institute 6 years now. And I've tried to build spaces, especially for the youth. And one of the spaces that we are working with for the youth is what we call KIPRA Mentorship Program for universities. We go to universities, we talk with university students on opportunities that are there in government, on what you need to do for your future career, how do you prepare yourself outside the market. And we also teach you or give you an indication of government development agenda. Because in some situations, we say that we are not being listened to. Our issues are not being taken care of or taken up. But it's because probably this is where you are as far as your research, your ideas are, but this is the direction that the policy development is going. So we come to universities and we let you get and say, if you really want to contribute to the current development agenda, this is what is being prioritized. Before the current government, we used to have what you call the Big Four. Do you remember? The Big Four agenda. Right now, What is the development agenda for the government right now? What are we calling it? What are we calling it? Huh? 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 Yeah, there is. There is. I'm pretty sure all of you, none of you is an alpha generation, is there? No. From alpha you go to there. You go to beta, yeah? And that's the government. I'll spell for you. It's spelled like the beta because it's actually bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Beta. So if there's nothing else you get out from here, please get out from here with beta. Bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Bottom line about it is inclusivity. So when we go to universities, we are looking at what do students understand with inclusion, inclusivity, in the context of the development agenda. We also tell them about various opportunities. How many of you know about the National Youth Council? Two, three, that's almost 0.3%. I heard you are all engineers, yeah? I'm trying to look at the, what do you call, resilience or something? I can't see it because you are not in the spaces. There is National Youth Council, which is, I call it the presidency of the youth, because it is the platform that has been created by the government to give the youth a voice. Please look for it and see how you can participate in that space. Of course, the government has other opportunities for the youth. There are those of us who want to be employed, but there are those of us who want to be in entrepreneurial activity. All of you are women. Many of you have heard about the Women Fund. Right? How many have taken advantage of the Women Funds? One. One out of all of us. Again, a very small percent. How many have heard about the Youth Enterprise Development Fund? Now that we are here. How many have used the opportunity? Again, none. They're all zero. Actually, there's zero. So, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that we can say many things of either spaces are not available or we are not getting a platform for the youth to participate. But I'll tell you, there are spaces for you in the government. National Youth Council, very big space for you, is the presidency of the youth. Youth Enterprise Development Fund, it's there for those who want to take advantage. How many have taken advantage of Ajira? Ajira, yeah? You've even taken the courses? Good. I think that is a very good class. And I go back with it and say, it's something that's going on. But in addition to that, I would say as an institution, I don't know whether the youth here, they have a lot, you organize yourselves as a group or how you need to work among yourselves. I was invited once to a forum by the youth in climate action. and I learned that they kind of come, there are so many of them. Actually, first of all, I learned that there are so many of them. There are many youth who are in the climate change action. But what they were missing is having platforms for themselves to talk to each other. So as an institution, FIPRA, we started from last year to give the youth in climate action space for them to network and for them to have a voice that they can solidify in talking to the government. You can talk to the government, but if you are alone, government will never listen to you. Are you aware of that? But if you are a solid voice, it's very easy for you to push forward a development agenda or a policy agenda. So we worked together and we were able by November to look for other partners. We didn't do very well because we started the partnership sometimes in June and we were preparing ourselves for November, COP27. You all know about COP27? Good. So, of course, we were able to get at least funding for 2 to attend the COP27. But what is it that we are doing with them? Is building their capacity. Building their capacity in public policy process. You may be very good in your in the discipline you are, but if you don't understand the public policy process, you may find yourself not able to engage in the process. Let me ask one before I come back to that. How many of you have participated? Right now, the government is actually putting together what we call a medium-term plan form. And they have gone around the country talking to youth, talking to everybody. But in your county, I know all of you don't come from the same county, isn't it? Come from different counties. How many of you have ever attended a forum called by your governor? One of them. What did you do in that forum? Good. Very good. Public participation. Some of us miss out because we actually don't participate in the public participation forums. And then we say we are being left out. I talked to some young people before and asked them, 2 of them raised their hands and they said they participated. So when I asked them, how did you participate? They said they went there for handouts. Yeah, they make payments for whatever, for transport, isn't it? They pay you for transport. Because I asked them, did you actually participate? They said, no, I was there to get the handouts. But you go with the handout, very good. But what did you give them? Zero. And then tomorrow you come and say the government is not listening. I want to challenge you that you have spaces that you can interact with and that help you to actually get to understand the operations, the systems of government, and they actually help you to also get to see opportunities that are there even to vote. There are some circumstances where you can express your intent of being a board member to a minister. And so you need to understand what's going on, isn't it? Yeah? So you need to understand what is going on so that you can be given that opportunity to participate. Last week I participated in a forum. I was actually in New York for a forum. And when I was told that I'm coming here today, I said, I must give this team these platforms that they need to work with. For example, under the UN agenda on common agenda, there's something called Global Digital Compact. The negotiations are going on, the inputs into the same are going on, and the discussions for the same will be happening next year. We had a very good presentation on the digital economy and the fact that we have a very big digital divide for women, isn't it? And a lot of us are not actually in those spaces. I don't know what area of engineering you're doing. If you're doing engineering in the ICT, you need to make a contribution. If you're doing engineering in the area that touches on the digital element, we need to see you making contribution. As a team, you can actually come together and tell yourself that you want to make an input. Bring it out and share it with the UN. There are 2 facilitators, one from Sweden, one from Rwanda. At this point and age, we need your input. So Google and find out about Global Digital Compact under the UN Common Agenda. It has been taken by everybody. COVID gave us a space that we had not utilized before. It is a space that we need to utilize. The other thing I met somebody, I had never heard about this, the Pan-African Scientific Research Council. How many are part of it? Pan-African Scientific Research Council under Princeton University. And the indication I got from, because they wanted to work with Kipra, is they have professional researchers, scientists across the whole of Africa, and they meet regularly. Since you're engineers, therefore you're in that space, please Google and look for it and see how you can be part and parcel. And for those who are even yearning to go for further studies, Princeton University is a space that you can get into. The other element I also wanted to bring in, because it's an area that is of interest, and I've had many of you bringing it up, whether you're caring for members of your family, or even you yourself going forward and you have a family and you take care of it, is the aspect of care economy. Care economy, there are many things we do in the house and they are never monetized, isn't it? Yeah? We take care of the babies, we take care of the sick, we take care of our elderly, we take care of all the family members. Yeah? We go to the river to carry a jerrycan of water. I'm sure all of you have never done it, but we do that. Yeah? But nobody actually has monetized it. Yeah? It's now a very big agenda, care economy. If you want to get into that space, please get into it. It's in the top of agenda as far as the UN agenda is concerned. And you can get a space for yourself. Engineering for us. So, should I always wash clothes? Give me a very good machine, yeah? Not this ones that break down all the time. Please give us a new machine that can help us to deal with that. Give us maybe something that can make coffee, tea every morning. I don't have to wake up very early, but you can do that for us. Care economy. an area that you need to bring up. As I finish, I also want to think of engineers. Every time I hear about engineers, I think of solutions, technology. STNI is a government. It is one of the pillars for Vision 2030. STNI, Science, Technology and Innovation. We've not done so much, but it is the desire for this country to actually see the knowledge-based economy growing. It's moving, but we are not yet there. But most importantly for me is the informal sector. How many of us have gone to Mudhurwa? All of us. What kind of technology are they using to make those very nice rounded fans? There's a lot of noise, yeah? All the time. What are you doing for them? To reduce that noise, but to do the same thing, right? Make their life better. I'm imagining that noise at some point in their life may affect their eardrums, isn't it? But engineers, don't be engineers in the classroom, yeah? Be engineers with practical solutions, yeah? I'll be very happy to hear that you have come up with a very good machine tool that will help them to mold the same thing with less noise, higher perfection, and higher quality. The only thing that they are missing, and that is why they can't get into the international market with those things, is because they are not standardized, quality is not at that level, and they need that technology, right? So I also want to throw it to you as engineers that you have a space to make our youth get into employment that is decent. Many youth are getting into informal sector, but they are poor workers. Very poor. Very poor because they don't have technologies. Very poor because they are not innovating. Very poor because they need us to support them to have quality products. I'm very happy that Davis and Shipleaf, I think I found down there that they are 75 years, so they have perfected their technology. How come we don't have other Davis and Shipleafs coming up? It's a space that we can have. Finally, I want to ask the question whether the women, ladies, that are in this space of engineers. I know there is Engineer Society Association of Kenya, whatever it is, yeah? But I'm wondering at your youthful stage, do you have a way of coming together? And I'm talking this because just like we have supported youth in climate action to have a space where they can build dialogue, exchange views, network with each other, I'll be ready to provide that platform. But you must be organized and tell us that you have some way of even identifying kind of leadership that we can work with. But we need to put you somewhere where we can expose you, we can help you to network, not just with yourselves, but with others. Last week I was trying to check what they call that thing. I was in the week before, I was in Dedan Kimathi University, University of Technology. Yeah, yeah. They have something. They have. I forget it. Semi. What? Can I check for it? Yes. Semi something. Technology. Yeah. Let me get. I'll get it. Just. Yeah, it's called semiconductor technologies. You know about them? You know about them, yeah? Now, the semiconductor technologies, the surprise I got is that 80% of those work there, they are ladies, yeah? And the majority of them are 25 years and below. And the kind of machines they are able to assemble. You know, these are computerized machines, yeah? With the robot kind of technology. It was amazing. But do you have a space where you sit down with them? Have you had a chance to sit with them somewhere? No. I want to challenge Davis and Shakib that we can work together and try to bring the young engineers to give them space where they can speak to one another. It was amazing to see those young engineers on what we can do. Not just being able to operate a machine, but being able to actually assemble it from the scratch, whether it's taking 1 year, but to a level that it can be used. Finally, I want to speak about this one thing that comes to mind. It has been spoken here, but I want to bring in my career of an economist. And as an economist, I know she wants to. As an economist, we talk about development. And then we ask ourselves, when you hear development, you think it's a very big one, isn't it? Yeah? Very big outside there. When they tell us we are less developed, then you say, oh God, so what do we need so that we can be developed? But there are only three things that make us developed. One of them is self-esteem. As simple as that. Self-esteem. And when I was teaching, I would always ask my students, if Gor Mahia was playing a match today, and the others are called who? Arsenal, I don't know what, I have never watched them. Yes. If you had to make a choice in attending, which one you would attend? Would you rather go to Nyayo Stadium and watch Gor Mahia, or sit back and watch Arsenal? How many times do you sit down to discuss the goalkeeper of Gor Mahia? Never. Do you even know him? No. But you know the Arsenal one, isn't it? You know the Manu. So you think when you sit with the person from UK, from wherever, and the only thing you can talk about is Arsenal Manu, what do they think about your self-esteem? What do they think? Have yourself-esteem. You know, when I was in first year, we had this teacher or lecturer, and he would always remind us, Don't worry about my low accent. Worry about it. Right? How many of us go to America? 2 days. They come back with us to show us that they have been there. Please, self-esteem, believe in yourself and where you come from, isn't it? You will never hear a white man speaking Kikuyu the way I speak, isn't it? They'll never try. They will put an accent of the American accent into my Kikuyu, which makes it look very bad, yeah? But you want to put, you want to borrow an accent to speak English. Why can't you speak your accent in the English? Freedom of choice. Freedom of choice is the second most important thing as far as being developed is concerned. Freedom of choice. I'm happy that today you actually chose to come here. Because you could have gone somewhere else, isn't it? I'm very happy that you've chosen to take the courses you are taking, because somebody could have chosen it for you, right? But I'm also hoping that you're not doing, those who have not graduated, you're not doing that degree and then you go home and you tell Mama, you know, you told me to do this engineer, yeah? I've finished it, and this is your certificate. Now I can go and do literature, because that is where I wanted to be, right? Freedom of choice is crucial. It's a key element in whatever we do. We went to Dedan Kimathi, and one of the speakers came the following day and asked the teams, because we were late just like we are late now, and some people started walking out. And then the following day, we were to do a recap of what we did the day before. So for those who stayed on, they were asked to raise their hands. And when they raised their hands, you could see groups. Those who didn't also raise their hand because they left were also in small groups, which tells you that we make choices as far as our friends are concerned, isn't it? Yeah? And sometimes we behave as per our friends, yeah? So I'm hoping that when you came here, you made a choice to be here, and when you go out, please make the choice to spread a good word for everything that you have had. I know there are so many questions that were asked. Sorry, the third last element of development is basic needs, and you have all talked about them. Can I eat? Can I sleep well? Can I have a roof over my head? Basic needs. They are crucial, but sometimes it's not everybody who is able to get the basic needs. And anytime you look at the development agenda for this country since independence, we talked about Ujinga. And we have come a long way in trying to really deal with education elements. We talked about poverty, umaskini, but we are not yet there. And that is why the agenda is always there for inclusivity, for developing, for growth, and all the time. But we can actually meet the basic needs, and first and foremost is actually to ensure that we have food in whatever we do. Finally, it's just to say that somebody asked about taxes, and taxes you have to pay. Unfortunately, the minute you get into jobs and then you get salaries at a certain level, you give Caesars what is due, and you'll have no problem. You have no problem when that happens. So for me, is to encourage all of us to have open minds, get to know your environment, agree to be held hand, but at the same time, to be brave in whatever you do. Believe in yourself. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much. Let us give her a round of applause. And I want to say thank you so much for staying on. I know we are late. It's way beyond our time. But I want to say thank you so much. And I would just want to just give a brief summary of the whole event because I know there are some things that have been repeated. And the main takeaway points are, leadership is not given, it's taken, but be mindful of how you take the leadership. There are opportunities, there are, let us be entrepreneurs. Also, the main thing that was out today, main that was predominant is self-love, there is being self-aware, there is need for us to look for mentors, to look for coaches, and also therapy. I'm also an advocate for therapy because all of us, we have some things, some traumas that we are dealing with. And also to remember that let us be confident. And to remember one main thing, we need to demonstrate what we are capable of because not everyone knows what you can do. As I close, I want to say thank you so much. This has been an amazing day to have you, to start with you, to get to this point. If you don't know me, if you didn't get to hear me, my name is Teresia Mitau, or you can call me Tess. I am a freelance environmental journalist for a country global newspaper based in the US called Athlete. And I am a former radio presenter and a news anchor with over 3 years of experience. And just to bring it home, I'm a private tutor who tutors in math, chemistry, and physics. So at least I can say that I'm also in STEM. by affiliation. Yes, and as I wrap up, I have to leave you with that quote. Because as I've had, I'm also, can I say addicted, a sufferer, a struggler, is all self-imposter. No. Imposter, thank you so much, imposter syndrome. And there is one quote that is used most of the time, and it's by Theodore Roosevelt, who was the president of the US, and it says, it is not the critique who counts, not the man who points out how strong another man's camp was, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man. The credit belongs to the man in the credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deed. Who knows great enthusiasm, with great devotion, who spends himself in our cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he while daring greatly, so that in his place shall never be with the cold and the timid souls who neither knew victory or defeat. So my parting words is, if someone is not in the arena, they will never know what you're going through, even the empathy. So as you guide your space and as you try to get into the space of trying to be better, always know there's going to be critique, always expect it. And also remember the self-critique and also give it a chair, or rather journal it. Other than that, I want to say thank you so much for being here, for giving me the chance. It has been an honor. I'm so humbled. And as I leave, I'd like to welcome Brenda, the founder of the Engineer, to give us a vote of thanks. Brenda, please. Thank you.
How do you get it? How would you tell your friend, or what did you see on social media about this particular Okay, I'm glad. And as I stand here once again, it's really an honor honor this fight. There is no event without participants. There is no event without guests, you know. There is no event without food, you know, the Africans. There was food. Do you have enough? Ama tuongezewe? Unaweza piga simu, wanasema niwaulize, do you want some more? Yeah, so I come here with a few words. Time has really gone, and I don't want to say much. I want to say asanteni sana kwa kuja siku ya leo. Asanteni sana for all the questions. I don't want to summarize anything. I have nothing else to say. I want to thank our main sponsors, Davis and Shaki. I want to thank ZP of Davis and Shaki, and also for being our speaker and for hosting us. I want to thank Lydia, ZP, they facilitated us having this event here. I don't take it for granted. The planning process will not be easy. Behind the scenes, behind the scenes. I know they tell you one day what's catching. I want to thank them all for the behind the scenes. I want to thank, I know we've forgotten somebody important on the post. I want to thank the Leading Women. I want to thank them for giving us our able speaker, Engineer Rogo. She came in as a member of Leading Women. And we want to thank Lydia also, who is a member of Leading Women, who extended the invite to Elizabeth Rogo. I want to thank our partners. We have Pose Photography. So as I mentioned you, I'd like the partners to come here. I'll start with Pose Photography, Thai Events, the Millennial Environmentalists. They just want them to come and wave and say their name and what their organization does. Only, we don't have much time. Thai Events Eugene, Millennial Environmentalists, we can have James or anyone from TME. Please come, we don't have much time. All these are individuals who make their success. Thai Events have taken care of all the event details for this day today. They were coming here to check on 1, 2 things for the event. The Millennial Environmentalists have donated 200 trees, which we are not able to plant today, but some we've given to our guests. But others are going to give Davis, they're going to let us know when and where they need us to deliver them. So TME, any representative from TME? Also TME come with the gifts for the guests. We have Mary Ben or Mona don't leave. We've not taken your gifts. VP and Dr. Rose. I'm calling them to receive their gifts. They hadn't taken them. So I give each organizing partner a few 1 minute to say their name, where they're found, and what the organization does. 3 things.
Good evening. Asanteni sana for showing up. For those that we have been communicating, I'm Paul Manomondi. If you received my email, safi sana. So you've done well. Hope to see you again in the next one. And as Gina inasema, I do photography. So zile vitu zimefanyika hapa, though some of them have left, shughuli zingine mahali, but that is what we do. And we work together with Brenda. We worked together last year, even this year, bado tutakuwa pamoja. Even in this field, ndio. Si pia ni vizuri wanaume wakiwa hapa. Pia tunaiba kidogo, because we are also raising girls, ndio. Some of us are raising girls, and it's important if we come and neighbor some wisdom from you guys, tunawapelekea, ndio. So asanteni sana, and tutapatia Eugene.
Right, thank you so much. Happy International Happy belated International Women's Day to you. It feels so nice to be an engineer for a day. I'm very excited. My name is Engineer in Quotes, Eugene Mushai, from Thai Events. We do corporate event management and organizing. We also do cooperative building. So if you think you would like to have an event, feel free to talk to us. Then we shall decide together if and when to have the event. All right? So you can get our contacts after this, including all event support services, protocol, media, and programming, as well as speakers, including also equipment and sound. So feel free to talk to us anytime, anywhere. Let me echo that one, that if you think you would like to have an event, all right? Let's start having the conversation about that event. Thank you so much.
Okay, there's an ECF car that is going to be blocked. The owner to remove it. But we're just finishing now. So I'd like to call Mary-Ben Omolo, VP, please come forward, and Dr. Rose. So we have a token of appreciation. The other guests that we see there, don't worry why do this, because they are there earlier and you are not available. So we have a token of appreciation here from all of us. Yeah. Thank you for coming and for honoring our invitation. We are more into sustainability and working with TNE over the years. All our events, we plant trees as a way of teaching I always say we should make a better planet for our children and the future. We start by teaching them small things like planting a fruit tree. So in all our events with TNE, we always plant trees. Here it was not possible, but we donated. We're just waiting for Davis to let us know when and where they need the trees. So if there's any organization that needs trees, James will say they have many trees in their city. Yeah. So with that, I'd like to call Melanie to come and finish with a 2-minute vote of thanks, and then we can call it a day. And as we go outside, you can grab a box of juice just to wash the throat after all the questions and answers and the laughs and everything. And before that, I say thank you so much, Melanie.
Hi guys.
Hi.
First of all, let us appreciate our hosts and our speakers. So I welcome them. Individuals are still here, and Dr. Rose. Kindly, something more. Ladies and champions, and Thai events, with engineers for photography. Thank you so much. And our MC. Hey, she's done great one. Come on, Mary. I'd like to really thank the engineers and Davis for organizing this. And I'd like to shed some light on what they're doing. Right now, Be Engineers is having a mentorship program in primary schools. They're going around teaching girls what we say we wanted to know when we were their age. And they're doing this, like she has said,
sustainably, TME. The project is called STEM Numbers in Data. So you can contribute to the event. You can reach out to Brenda, because this is what we really need. Okay, guys, I think we have all understood and comprehended why this is important, right? Right? Okay. So, as we wind up, please continue planting trees. I am a passionate environmentalist as much as I'm an engineer. So let us continue taking care of the environment and ensure you follow TME. TME 254 at TME. Now, Mrs. Sahau, and reach out for anything environment. Right now, there's so many things going on. You can sign up for Hummingbird Awards. You will go check it out. So spread also over there. By following, you're also spreading a lot of opportunities. Please share these opportunities. Share these opportunities. Is it these organizations that have been listed here? They may seem like words right now, but share them. They have information that you won't otherwise find. Okay? And with that, please go on and become the engineers that we need. Innovate. Dr. Rosa said we are poor because we've not innovated. Okay? So innovate. So thank you.
Okay, so as we wind up, I'd like us to pray. We started with a prayer, we're going to end with a prayer. So for all the Catholics in the house, let us do the sign of the cross in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our dear Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening. Lord, we want to say thank you for the gift of life that you've given to us. Thank you for the gift and for a great session that we had to give, dear Lord. Thank you for giving us the grace, the patience, and the understanding to understand what was being discussed today. As we depart to our various destinations, dear Lord, may you be with us. May you help us to remember some of the lessons that we've learned, and also help us to gain and to gather the courage to implement them into our lives, better our lives, and also to glorify you. For whatever we pray for, dear Lord, may your Holy Spirit intercede. For it is in Jesus' name I do pray, trusting and believing. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you so much, and